So I'm just thinking out loud, okay? I'm driving along. It's evening, as you can tell. And I would like to tell the world how insane my situation is. I was brought up a Jehovah's Witness. Now, most people think that Jehovah's Witnesses are lovely people. It's a quirky religion. Let me tell you that there are people who are trapped in that religion. There are people who have sort of like been kidnapped. They are kidnapped and can't escape. So I've lost my entire family. I've got 3 brothers. My brothers are now, I was trying to do the maths, I think one's 54, one's 52, and one is 5 years older than me. So what am I? I'm 43. He'd be 48. I haven't seen my brothers since I was 21. So that's 22 years that this religion has taken my family. I'm going to explain more about this, but I just had a meet-up with other ex-Jehovah's Witnesses, which is rare, only since just recently, where groups have worked out that there's lots of us in the same situation, have we been able to get together. Because what the religion does is it isolates you. It cuts you off and casts you out, and you're on your own. But thanks to the internet, we found each other. So on the weekend, 40 of us got together. We're talking about 40 people. One man hasn't seen his kids. So his kids were 12, 14, that sort of age. He hasn't seen his kids for all those years, and they're now adults and grown up. They've disappeared. He hasn't been able to find them. Another man who's just come out of the Jehovah's Witnesses, he's lost his wife and 2 kids. There's people there that have lost husbands, mothers, daughters. The Jehovah's Witnesses trap families, and if you leave, you can't see them anymore. So they're like kidnapped. They're a closed community. So this is a massive problem because it's hugely against human rights. It's something that people are not aware with, and the reason they're not aware is because we have been silenced. This voice has been silenced by a very clever mechanism up until now, where all the people who left were silenced by not being able to talk to each other, cast off outside of the community. But through the internet, we have found each other, and we all have the same story. So the Jehovah's Witnesses have destroyed families. They are destroying families. Look, the individuals are lovely. So what happened with us is, I was born into this. My brothers were all born into this. My mum joined the religion when she was at a low point, and she found comfort, solace, a group that immediately took her in and looked after her and were kind and generous. And they are kind, generous people that look after their own, but at the same time, they have this really dangerous, closed community that, should you decide to change your mind about the beliefs, then you are cast out, and this is a massive problem. So the world just needs to work this out. People need to work out that the Jehovah's Witnesses have a major problem, and there's a lot of people suffering, and it needs to stop. The Jehovah's Witnesses are a charitable, they get tax withheld, I can't think of the word, but they get benefits because they're a charity. They're a charity that is actually destroying lives, and this should not be allowed. The closed community, how does that work? So when you become a Jehovah's Witness, you are trained to only stick with your own. Now, it doesn't happen straight away, but with years and years of conditioning and frightening their members by thinking that anybody outside is dangerous, they create this close community in broad daylight. So they walk around, they participate, like they go to the shops, they go to school, but they are trained to stay separate from everybody mentally. So they're like, seriously, they're like walking zombies is the only way I can explain it. And it's really dangerous because they are trapped and they need to be helped. They can't see it. The only reason why I saw it is because I actually transgressed. I made a mistake and I was removed from the group. I was given plenty of warning. You know, they give warnings, and but the elders decided that I was no longer worthy to be in the group because I might be dangerous. I might influence some people. So they kicked me out. And so what happens then is they keep a closed community that way, and when they cut somebody off and shut them out, there is no way to communicate. And that is a fantastic control mechanism that stops people within from being able to reach out and understand what's happening out there. So I was cast out, and to show you how strong this group is, I was actually mentally wanting to rejoin my people because I truly believed that what they had was right, and I was now on my own out there. I needed to get back in. But at the same time, something didn't feel right. So I waited a long time. And as I waited, I was able to, we call it waking up. We slowly start to understand that, no, the witnesses aren't right. It is a close community. Everything they taught us was not true. And it's unbelievable the things we did believe. But when you're told something over and over, and when you're disconnected from society, what happens is you start to get this distorted reality. So the Jehovah's Witnesses are lovely people, but they are walking around with distorted realities in their heads. And in order to keep themselves safe, they cut themselves off for anybody that might help them to see and to educate themselves. The other dangerous thing is that Jehovah's Witnesses really give up everything. So my entire family have given up their entire life for this thing. They have sacrificed all their time. They have given up potential earnings and investments. Now, luckily, my brothers, because we had a really tough time in Italy when I was a kid, really financial difficult times, I think they have cleverly invested somewhat more than other witnesses. But I've met so many ex-Jehovah's Witnesses who really are bordering on the poverty line because their entire life they were not allowed to become educated because that's not allowed in the group. They were kept in the dark about how things work. So when we finally went out in the world, a lot of us didn't know how to function. So we took many years just to get our feet back on the ground. And so this religion is so dangerous, and people haven't seen it. I think they really need to understand how dangerous it is. And most importantly, the people within it need to be helped because they are trapped. And in broad daylight, they are living their lives in such a way that they're really missing out. And of course their families that they cut off from, they're missing out. I know my mum absolutely misses me, but she is not allowed to contact me. I haven't seen my mum for a long time. She's not allowed to text me. They've gotten really specific about not being able to text. And my brothers, I haven't seen or spoken to since we were kids. We're now grown people. We're approaching, our middle years, and I haven't seen them since I was 21, when we were kids. I'd just learned how to drive. They helped me learn how to drive. That's how long it's been since I've seen them. I've had kids that they haven't met. I mean, they've met briefly because I allow my kids to go and visit them sometimes. But they've got kids that they haven't been allowed to meet me. They can't get to spend time with me. I've had people who have found my page and said, Renee, I didn't even know you existed. I've known your family for 10, 15 years. We go to barbecues every Saturday, or, we meet often. I didn't not even know you existed because they have cut me off. This is a problem. And this is what I wanted to say tonight, that this needs to get out there. This information needs to get out there to the general public, and people need to be warned. Thank you.